Every week, gardeners haul bags of what they think is useless waste to the curb, completely unaware they're throwing away one of the most valuable ingredients for building rich, living soil. I'm talking about ordinary fallen leaves. Not expensive compost, not bags of garden soil, not specialty amendments, just the leaves that pile up every autumn or collect beneath trees after a windy week. I've tested plenty of soil building methods over the years, and very few improve soil structure, moisture retention, and microbial life as consistently as properly recycled leaves. The biggest mistake isn't leaving them on the ground, it's sending them to the landfill instead of putting them back to work in the garden. One thing that made a huge difference for me was learning when those piles of leaves were actually breaking down instead of just sitting there. I started checking the temperature of my compost and leaf piles with the 20-inch Fahrenheit backyard compost thermometer with digital composting guide, and it completely changed how I managed decomposition. If you'd like to see the exact thermometer I use, I've linked it in the description below because it's become one of those simple tools that helps take the guesswork out of composting. The reason leaves are so powerful comes down to what happens after they hit the soil. Trees spend an entire growing season pulling minerals from deep underground while capturing carbon from the atmosphere through photosynthesis. When leaves fall, they carry much of that organic matter with them. Instead of seeing them as waste, nature sees them as the next generation of soil. Walk through any healthy forest and you'll notice something remarkable. Nobody spreads fertilizer, tills the ground, or buys compost. Yet forests produce some of the richest soil on Earth. That's because every year a fresh blanket of leaves feeds fungi, bacteria, worms, insects, and countless microorganisms. Together, they slowly transform those leaves into dark, crumbly organic matter known as humus. Home gardens can benefit from exactly the same process. One of the easiest ways to use leaves is as mulch. Instead of piling them on whole, I like to shred them first using a lawn mower or leaf shredder. Smaller pieces settle together more evenly, stay in place during windy weather, and begin decomposing much faster. A 2 to 3 inch layer around tomatoes, peppers, beans, squash, or fruit bushes helps regulate soil temperature while reducing evaporation during hot summer weeks. Many gardeners worry that leaves steal nitrogen from the soil. That's only partly true. Fresh leaves contain lots of carbon, so the microbes breaking them down temporarily use available nitrogen at the surface. But this mostly happens where decomposition is taking place, not deep around established plant roots. If you're mulching around mature vegetables, the effect is usually minimal. If you're mixing large amounts of shredded leaves directly into planting beds before sowing seeds, adding a nitrogen-rich material like finished compost, grass clippings, or aged manure helps balance everything. Another method I rely on is making leaf mold. Despite the unusual name, leaf mold is simply partially decomposed leaves that have broken down primarily through fungal activity instead of the hotter bacterial process used in composting. It takes longer, sometimes a year or two, but the finished material is incredible. Leaf mold acts almost like a sponge. It can hold several times its weight in water while creating tiny air spaces throughout the soil. Those spaces improve drainage in heavy clay while helping sandy soils retain moisture much longer between watering. Making it couldn't be much simpler. I gather shredded leaves, lightly moisten them, pile them inside a simple wire enclosure or breathable bags with air holes, and let nature do most of the work. Every few months I'll check moisture levels and occasionally turn the pile if needed, but fungal decomposition does most of the heavy lifting without constant attention. I've also found that different leaves behave differently. Maple, birch, poplar, and fruit tree leaves generally break down fairly quickly. Oak leaves decompose more slowly because they're tougher and contain more tannins, but shredded oak leaves still become excellent organic matter if you're patient. Pine needles decompose slowly as well, yet they're perfectly useful when mixed with other materials instead of used alone. One mistake I made early on was trying to compost enormous piles of whole leaves. Months later, the outside looked exactly the same because air couldn't move through the tightly packed layers. Once I started shredding them, everything changed. More surface area meant microbes could work faster, moisture spread more evenly, and decomposition accelerated dramatically. Leaves also make outstanding ingredients in traditional compost piles. Because they're carbon-rich, they balance nitrogen-heavy materials like vegetable scraps, fresh weeds before seed formation, coffee grounds, and grass clippings. When the proportions are close to balanced, microbes multiply rapidly, generating heat that speeds decomposition while helping destroy many weed seeds and plant diseases. Moisture matters just as much as the ingredients themselves. Compost should feel similar to a wrung-out sponge, not dripping wet but definitely not dry either. Too much water pushes out oxygen and slows beneficial microbes. Too little moisture causes decomposition to nearly stop. This is also where patience pays off. Many people expect compost to finish in a few weeks, but healthy soil building isn't a race. Every month those microorganisms are creating stable organic matter that continues improving your soil for years after it's added. Around this point in the process is where my compost thermometer becomes genuinely useful. Instead of guessing whether microbial activity is increasing or fading, I can actually see what's happening inside the pile. A temperature increase tells me the microorganisms are actively breaking down material. If temperatures remain low after adding fresh ingredients, it's usually a clue that something needs adjusting, perhaps more moisture, better aeration, or a better balance between greens and browns. I've also found it helpful after turning the pile. Within a day or two, I expect temperatures to begin climbing again if conditions are right. If they don't, I know to investigate rather than simply waiting for weeks hoping things improve on their own. Another advantage is learning when compost is beginning to mature. As the easily digested materials disappear, temperatures naturally decline. That's a sign the pile is entering its finishing stage instead of actively cooking. Having that information prevents me from spreading unfinished compost into vegetable beds where decomposition might continue after planting. The included digital composting guide has also been handy because it reinforces what healthy compost activity should generally look like throughout different stages. Rather than relying on guesswork, I have a simple reference that helps explain why temperatures rise, fall, or stall. Looking through customer experiences, many gardeners mention similar benefits. They appreciate finally understanding what their compost pile is doing instead of judging progress only by appearance. That's been my experience too. It isn't about chasing the highest possible temperature, it's about knowing what's happening so you can make small adjustments before problems become major setbacks. Once your leaves have fully broken down, the finished material becomes incredibly versatile. I mix it into raised beds before spring planting, blend it into container potting mixes to improve moisture retention, spread it around berry bushes as a top dressing, and incorporate it into vegetable gardens each fall before winter rains help carry organic matter deeper into the soil. Over time, you'll likely notice several improvements. The soil becomes easier to dig without feeling compacted. Earthworms become more common because they're feeding on the increased organic matter. Water infiltrates better after heavy rain yet stays available longer during dry spells. Vegetables often develop stronger root systems because they're growing in loose, biologically active soil rather than dense, lifeless ground. One thing I especially appreciate is how this approach reduces waste. Instead of paying to remove leaves or buying as many bagged soil amendments, I'm recycling a resource that's already available almost every year. It's economical, environmentally friendly, and surprisingly effective. Even if you only start by saving a few bags of autumn leaves this season, you're beginning a cycle that keeps improving with each passing year. Healthy soil isn't created overnight. It's built gradually through consistent additions of organic matter that feed the entire underground ecosystem. That's probably the biggest lesson I've learned after years of gardening. The materials that look least valuable on the surface often become the foundation of the healthiest gardens. Fallen leaves may not look impressive when they're scattered across the lawn, but once they become part of your compost or leaf mold system, they're quietly building better soil one season after another. So before you bag up those leaves and send them away, consider giving them a second life in your garden. Shred them, compost them, or start a simple leaf mold pile. You'll be investing in healthier soil that keeps paying you back year after year. And if you want to monitor your compost more accurately instead of relying on guesswork, check out the 20-inch Fahrenheit backyard compost thermometer with digital composting guide linked in the description below. It's a simple tool that's helped me understand exactly what's happening inside my compost piles and make better decisions throughout the process. If you found this helpful, give the video a like, subscribe for more practical gardening advice based on real experience, and share it with another gardener who's still throwing away their leaves. Your future soil will thank you.